not, bobblehead.
Mr. Beachy, as I pass documents, you just flip them down there for me to pick up the pen.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna start in about a minute.
Do we have to elect officers today for
The
redevelopment?
in the council meeting.
Oh, good, we got 2 people we could volunteer.
All right, it's 7 o'clock, so we're gonna call the December 19th redevelopment commission meeting to order. First thing, roll call. Jeff Beachy,
Here.
Kathy Burke,
Here.
Greg Tolsky's here, Kathy Antonelli, clerk, treasurer,
Here.
Mike Yoder, here, Marshall Steve Cream,
Here.
and legal counsel Alex Bowman.
Here.
All right, absent, we have Dean Renfro and Doug Smith. All right, everybody have a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, any changes, additions?
Nope.
All right, the agenda will stand as published. Next, we have approval of minutes. Everybody look at them?
Yes. Make a motion, we approve the 10/17/2024 minutes.
And second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Kathy. All right, take it to a vote. Jeff Beachy,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky's yes. Carries. All right, reports.
All right, so, you don't have the RDC up.
Oh, I don't.
I mean, yeah. So we did get an evaluation of the property. JPR's architect and came out, took a look at the building. It is possible to do a demolition on that. It'll have to be careful because we do have a shared wall. So, we also have received 2 appraisals now on the property. What was the average of the 2 of those, Alex? 140 something.
Just about, yeah,
140. One was 144 and one was 146, I think.
Really?
yeah, I'm 46.6.
Wow.
And so the question, well, maybe you should talk about the resolution and what the process that we need to decide to go through if we want to acquire the property.
So the resolution that's before the RDC is 12/19/2024-14, which is a declaratory resolution of the RDC to amend the State Road 15 and Consolidated Economic Development Area to add additional real estate to the plan. So this is the statutory process. This is the RDC has been through this before, is probably familiar to the members that this is the process by which statute requires the RDC to act to declare that there's a new real estate to be added into the to the development area so that the RDC can utilize its resources to acquire or otherwise affect that property. So this is the start of that. This is amending that plan and identifies the Stoll property as the additional real estate to be added into the area. We went through the most recent comparable process, I think, would have been for the Warren Howard property to add that in prior to the eminent domain action. So that's the gist of the resolution. Happy to walk through the particulars of it, but there are statutory findings that the RDC is required to make as part of the plan, identifying the real estate in order to start this process going. From here, and it's on page 12 of the agenda is the transaction timetable. So this is something that Scott is pretty adept at putting together that details just what statutes we're dealing with and what the timeline looks like and what the next steps are from here. So as you can see, we are step 1, having the RDC need adopt a declaratory resolution, and this begins the rest of that process. So that's the long and short of it. This is what the RDC needs to do in order to spend any money to purchase that property.
What's the size of the property?
The acreage or lot size,
Yes.
I think it was higher up.
It's in there a couple
Or
times.
it's in your appraisals too. Do you guys know?
It, .0698.
0.09669.
.0699.
So when I was reading through it earlier, if the redevelopment commission purchases it, demolishes it, if there's any structural problems with the shared wall, would the commission then be responsible to shore up those issues? Or the owner, like, where does that lie if it starts getting torn down? And we find out that shared wall isn't just as bad a shape as the building. What happens at that point?
I think it's a fair inquiry. We keep in mind that once the RDC is to acquire that property, then the RDC would be the owner of it, and much in the same way that if you don't own the property, if an individual owns the property and modifies the building, there could be an impact to the structural integrity of the adjoining building. It would certainly be a discussion among property owners at that point. Maybe getting a little afield from your question, I don't think it raises issues of takings. I don't think we're looking at, taking a property to the extent that the building is demolished and it causes damage to the adjoining building. But I think there's risk there. I think there's risk.
Did you read JPR's?
Well, that's what I was reading through, and it said it didn't really identify the building wall and that there was caution should be taken. But then I remember some of the other people I've talked to that looked at the building and it needs to be demolished basically, but it was the shared wall.
Definitive statement in JPR's.
Yeah, that was concerning.
So the quote unquote shared wall. Is it a shared wall only in the sense that the property that we're looking to acquire uses that same wall
That's my understanding.
and it's not physically attached to, it's not a supporting
Not
structure?
a supporting structure, unless you guys know anything different from that.
I don't believe it is a supporting structure, but certainly not from JPR either, so.
Yeah, JPR didn't indicate that was a support, the wall was a supporting structure, just that as we demolish, we'd have to be careful. Or we could incur some cost to repair that wall.
Yeah, because it looks, when I looked at the property, it looked to me like the building was abutted up to the existing building structure.
Right.
Right.
So it's not shared in the sense of it's equally shared, it's just shared in the
Common.
sense that if you look at the east side of the interior wall of the building, you'll see the west side of the other building.
Yeah.
So
So
if,
two distinct structures, they just happen to share a very close abutment, is that?
They share one wall.
so I would say, I would say the building that we're looking at purchasing
Mhm.
is a three-sided building.
Got it.
Connected to a four-sided building.
Got it.
So the shared wall, it doesn't look like we have a structural support there. That attaches to the other building.
Okay.
At least that's the way I look. at it.
Actually, if I remember right, from when I was a kid, the building that has the shared wall, not the three-sided. The three-sided was added on after that other building was built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that used to be Rebecca Lodge.
I guess my concern is, are we liable for if we uncover anything? That's my only concern. Like as the wall gets demolished or the building gets demolished, and all of a sudden you see the whole wall. If there's any existing, do we have any responsibility for the existing damage,
Water damage,
erosion,
anything like that.
whatever?
We might decide to not demolish till we decide what we're going to do with the entire property, see what the ideas are. Somebody might come to us and say, I'd rather keep that structure and repair it, upgrade it or something.
Yeah.
That was my other question too, is if we do take it down, how far off of the property line do we have to be if we wanted to build a new building?
We'll have to follow the county setbacks.
And what's that?
It's not very far, a couple feet, 3 feet maybe. It seems narrow.
And we could apply for a variance too,
Yes.
if we wanted to abut the existing building.
so much favor. the-
Half
that
acre, that's a lot of
creative
money.
ability to think that anymore.
Yeah.
But,
Maybe not.
but yeah. It's a binding process.
I'm just thinking, that's a lot of money for like a little over half the acre. I realize the location, but still.
Well,
You know me, I always have to figure everything
it is a
out.
lot of money, but it makes it, the property is important, but it's the two properties.
How much property are we gonna lose on the, when the bridge is widened?
Almost the entirety of the Stoll property, the
The-
residence.
Where the house was?
Where the house was.
Okay, so what we're looking at is where Lauren property and this other building and not the house.
Right, so we're gaining back not all of what we lost for the bridge, but some.
And I don't mean to change the subject, but it's in the same genre. How do we do that with the county widening the bridge and yet that's our property? Do they purchase it from us or do we, what happens?
Well, I mean, that would, it's candidly, the first go around, that I'd have with something like that, but there is I mean, there is a value to public property, that if it's being converted to other use, I mean, I would think even if it were an eminent domain taking, the town would be entitled to fair
Some-
compensation.
Yeah. Okay, what I was wondering. I didn't know how that all worked between the county and town-owned property and all of that stuff.
Yeah, there's a value to the real property, and, you know, now whether it would be not as if it's a commercial parcel or something, I don't think the town gets to make that argument necessarily, but there's a value to it that I think the town would be entitled to compensation.
So they're gonna take, what do you think, 30, 40 feet? The county
At least
to widen the
probably
bridge?
30 at least, yeah.
Okay.
Depends whether they decide to add one lane or two lanes plus a pedestrian.
Plus the wide pedestrian, okay.
Something to consider as well from a procedural standpoint, since this is what starts the process. This is still subject to the RDC adopting a resolution to purchase the property.
Okay,
And it's subject to not only the plan commission's approval, but then the RDC coming back and adopting the plan commission's approval. So the issue of purchase price or necessity of purchase, I think could be perhaps better argued at that, I think it's January 16th would be the hearing date for that.
Okay.
So that could be, adopting the resolution today is by no means an assurance that the property is to be purchased.
it's just a step.
Correct.
Okay, any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to adopt resolution 12-19 2024 14?
Will that be a motion to adopt or advance to second reading?
This would be a motion to adopt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will make a motion, we adopt resolution 12-19 2024 14, a declaratory resolution for the town of Bristol Redevelopment Commission, amending the economic development plan for the consolidated State Road 15 economic development area.
Motion by Jeff,
I'm still thinking.
all right, I'll second. Any questions?
Okay, yes, I still think, yeah, I'm just not clear, I'm sorry. This resolution that we're doing is just to put like the look-see into it. It's not, I know it's not, we're gonna do it. I know it's a declaratory and all of that, but it just says that we'd like to go ahead with it. Basically, that's what this resolution is concerning.
Basically, yeah.
Okay,
All right, take to a vote. Jeff,
Yes.
Kathy,
yes.
and Greg's a yes. Motion carries.
Good chance.
All right, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Mike. Any other questions? Any comments?
And I have your signature, Greg.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
All
I
right,
second that.
Jeff makes the motion, Kathy seconds, all in favor?
Aye. Okay.
Okay, we'll take just a couple minutes so Kathy can get her gears switched up here and we'll start the town council meeting.
Or you can make comments like if people have, that love the way it looks in the corner now.
I know.
Man, it just, everything's so clean, it just looks nice,
I know.
like the grass kind of looks like it's coming in.
Yeah, there's no graffiti or anything.
I guess I'd like to, you know, when the town council wants to, you know, see the building at any point that adjoining wall, you know, still let us know during this. So.
Okay, yeah, I mean, if we could set something up, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I would too.
Out of curiosity,
I've been in it before,
Okay.
but.
Sounds good.
thank you.
We won't charge you at all.
Ah,
And thank you for the power, although maybe we're gonna be paying for that. Our Christmas decorations are lit from that building.
oh,
Well, the previous neighbor figured out how to borrow electricity, so we did too.
yeah, but
Those we
The
asked,
same
hopefully.
outlet, the same outlet.
And she has the warrant for it now, so.
What's that?
She has the warrant because of that,
Well, that's true, but I asked permission.
okay. I was kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, well, would you wait until after the meeting to arrest me? Just so I got.
thank you very much.
I'll give you a pass.
Okay.
Introduce them to, I don't even know who they are.
That was Steve Reesecker, the Realtor, and then
Lucy
Lucy Peterson.
Peterson,
Peterson.
Oh, it
the
is.
realtor.
I'm sorry, I thought you folks knew.
No, I did Stoltz Realty.
I didn't realize that was Bruce.
I
Oh,
didn't
I've
either.
seen him for a long time, apparently.
I didn't either.
Okay, Jeff.
All right,
I think that's
We
the
will-
reason we probably didn't.
Yeah, we need to replace Steve over here.
we're gonna call the town council meeting to order. So today is Thursday, December 19th, 2024, and 7:17 PM. And we will call this regular town council meeting to order. So for item on the agenda, pledge of allegiance. Alex, welcome back.
Thanks,
You gonna lead us?
I'm happy to.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Excuse,
We'll do roll call, so I'll start to my right tonight. Kathy Burke,
yes.
Greg Dolsky,
Here,
and Jeff Beachy's here. Absent from council are Dean Renfro and Doug DeSmith. Off to my left, Town Marshal Steve Breen.
Here.
Legal counsel Alex Bowman.
Here.
Clerk Treasurer Kathy Antonelli.
Here.
Fire Chief Nick Hans.
Good evening.
And Town Manager Mike Yoder.
Good evening.
Okay,
And Mary-
everybody had a chance to look at the agenda.
yes.
Yes,
It's a lengthy one, so any
yeah.
additions, corrections, or changes that we need to make?
I don't see it in. Always, it's always long on the year end. We should pay those 3 year end.
Okay, if nothing, the agenda will stand as published. And we'll move on to approval of the invoices. Everybody a chance to review the
Yeah.
bills from last month.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion and we pay the bills.
Second,
Okay, motion by Greg, second by Kathy, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes,
And Jeff Beach is a yes, motion carries. Next item, approval of the minutes from the previous months.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes.
No minutes to approve
Why is it on here?
because
Oh, no.
finish starts there.
that's
So,
the RDC. Are you looking at the RDC agenda?
Nope. That's on the
Yep.
town.
No minutes prepared. They'll be ready for January.
Okay,
Okay,
that's all right.
Okay, moving on. Reports, Mike.
Okay, so this is where you want to swap with me, Jeff.
Okay.
And I'm going to move Miss Morgan over here. There you are. Can you hear us, Morgan? Yes, she says. All right, so she is here. Kathy's going to explain what she's after, and Morgan's here for
Moral support.
and intellectual support and knowledge support. Maybe you want Morgan to say a little bit about the program?
Well, I
and-
figure she will help me out as needed,
Okay,
right? Thanks for joining us, Morgan. So I sent council a couple of videos in regard to this. Did everybody have a chance to at least look at those?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is a way to basically streamline our spending so that it goes into the system, approval is through the system, it lessens the paper process and puts everything kind of one stream, so to speak. Council would have more access to the invoices than they do now. It also it lightens the load for my office in a way, but it adds to department heads. So it's kind of sharing the love, so to speak. Morgan, do you want to expand on that at all?
So it really allows everyone, including department heads, to be able to go into the system under one roof and shop multiple vendors, including Amazon, and then bring the invoices back into the system and pair it with the purchase order automatically. And so it reduces a lot of that upfront process of people having to come to you asking if, they need approval to purchase something. It eliminates some of those steps. But in turn, what it does is once they make their purchase through the system, we then set up workflow so it can go through the approval process, including to the board for final approval before the order is submitted. And so once we bring the invoices back into the system, it's done automatically, electronically, so you're not having to keep up with a bunch of invoices. It's approved by the State Board of Accounts, so easy to pull up reports for audit, reduces the stress load in that regard. As well as keep everything uniform. And so then we just integrate it seamlessly into your accounting software. And all you have to do is post your items and pay them that way.
And Morgan, at this point, we don't know if SBOA considers this a dual control yet, correct? Sherville hadn't been through that audit process yet, had they?
Correct. So what we've been told is it is approved by the State Board of Accounts, but we haven't had a municipality actually go through audit. So what we're telling people until that time comes is keep up with your normal process of filing. And then once we go through that first audit, we'll know for sure that everything is good to go. Even if you don't have a paper or something that you're filing currently, you can always print it off the system. So it really is kind of it gives you the availability of that too, even without audit.
So currently, the invoice will come in, it goes to the department heads or to Mike for verifying what it is. They will stamp it and say, pay it out of this appropriation, sign it for approval. But it comes back to Jill and I, we input it into the system based on the information that they've given us. It prints out what we call an APV or accounts payable voucher that we attach to the invoice. Those, Kathy, this is what we were working on the other day. So she's seen stacks of these. Every invoice that comes through comes back. If I input them, Jill dual controls them, me and vice versa. So we've got two eyes on it. So if it was paid out of this appropriation, it should be that appropriation, we try and catch it. And then we correct it, which either means voiding a check or correcting it in the system so that it's coming out of the right checks and balances. So this system, because the dual control will be along the lines of approval, that should count towards the dual control aspect and be a huge time saver. But we're waiting to see. So when Morgan first brought this to us, the ticket price was $12,000 and we told her we could not afford that. So she graciously went to her powers that be and they dropped the price down to $6,000. So spread across 5 departments because it would be spread across everybody. That would be $6,000 annually, but the first year there's an additional $5,000 implementation fee.
And I do have to make a comment that I came in one morning and worked on verifying those account numbers off the plain sheets. And that's all I did. And I went through
Not
what,
very
2
many.
a month and a half,
Yeah, but
and it took me a whole morning to verify the number, and I had to key it in, or what, I did find a couple, I don't know if they were right or not, but I did find a couple errors on there, but it is very time consuming act to verify those accounts like that.
So,
So-
sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
So without the dual verification part figured out yet, how much of a savings is it until that's actually confirmed that that's helping out?
I don't know how to figure how many hours I put into that into dollars for you.
Well, I mean, like if it doesn't count as a dual control, are you guys still having to do that step
We would
anyway?
still have to print it off and do it. Now, she's saying the system itself is approved by State Board of Accounts. And I can't imagine they would say the dual control part's not in there, but I don't have anything in writing that says
Well,
that to be true yet.
yes, because just if I want to, something to that. So what we do is we allow it to be customized for dual control. So meaning if one of you approves something, then it has to go to the other person for approval before anything else is done. So it may not be that you two are doing it simultaneously, but you are having to both do it before it goes anywhere else.
So it's just a matter of having State Board say, yes, we will allow that.
Yeah, and you have to have check and balance.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
And worst case
And the other
scenario,
thing is when you do your approvals, it has every person who approves its name listed on the actual item.
even if you went into view it, that would show in the record history.
how many, Morgan, how many other municipalities are using this?
I would say about 8 to 10 currently this year.
Okay, is this relatively new?
This portion of it, Spinbridge is 30 years old. We started with the purchase order side of it, and now we've done invoicing through different channels and partnering with different ERPs. So currently with Key Fund, we have about 7 or 8. We launched it a year and a half ago.
Okay,
This includes invoicing, does it include purchasing as well?
Yes.
Yes.
And Spinbridge is set up to work with the vendors for specific pricing. So they would work through things that we might not even think about.
So what does the fee entail? I mean, just buying the software
Software and maintenance mostly.
and maintenance.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, it's also, the setup fee is to customize the platform. The onboarding process is about 6 to 8 weeks. We gather all of your user ID credentials, all of your vendors that you have accounts with. We take all of your appropriation account codes from Key Fund, upload them into Spinbridge, so it's an easy drop-down selection. We set up your workflow approval processes. So typically all of that is under the one-time setup fee, and then the annual fee is the access fee for all of your vendors to come into the system, streamline the invoices, the storage, et cetera.
And what is that? What's that fee?
6,000.
Every
The
year?
implementation fee is
yeah.
5,000
I see.
and then the annual is
I
6.
see. Okay. So what type of security does your system hold if you're taking all of our information?
Yeah, so we're cloud-based and we're secured by Azure. So that's really, Microsoft Azure. or Azure, I don't know how you guys say it. I came from cybersecurity, so they said Azure, and then Stenbridge says Azure, so tomato, tomato. But I do recommend, so that is our level of security. We have, you know, all the necessary, components in place. But, we also always recommend, you guys have, security on your own devices, two-way authentication, things like that.
What are your thoughts? I mean, it's your department heads that are gonna be put to task.
Well, they've sat through, yeah, everybody sat.
They've been through the training and I did speak to each of them individually. They're not opposed to it. They're still concerned with the cost of it. Cause it's still a little bit pricey.
That was a bit of a hard sell, especially at 12. I'm a softer sell now. They were gonna try and sell me again, but they said it's you guys that need to decide, not me. So,
The one thing I will add is not only are you getting these soft cost savings, which is time, right? And it's hard to put a dollar amount on time that you spend on certain things. You know, people get sick, they take vacations, they do all those things. The nice thing about having the invoices and the workflow electronic is you can approve things right from your device, like your laptop, your cell phone, if you're on the go, if you're at a conference. You're not having to wait, and that's, you know, department heads, that's people in AP, that's everyone. So it doesn't hold up the flow of someone having to get their orders done. And then the hard cost savings would be, you know, we partner with One Indiana, so we provide all of your catalogs and vendors under one space. We've already pre-negotiated all the pricing and discounts available. So you're saving money on that piece of it instead of relying on your department heads or staff members to do their due diligence and get the best price. Most of the time, people are going to do what's convenient, not always what's the best price. So we've kind of done that piece of it for you. So from a hard cost stance, you're also saving on that as well.
I think we're down to where it's worst case is a wash cost savings versus the cost. I think that's where we're at now. Worst case.
So if cost is a wash, what's the efficiency improvement to the process?
Have you seen my office?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, I've got, like I
So-
said, I've got some firsthand stuff that, you know,
that can be spent doing other things instead of going through each individual.
we're
invoice.
talking, what I did that for that 4 hours.
Okay.
It would take, 2 weeks to get it all done.
So with this
If
software,
that's all you were doing.
Yeah. And it was very labor intensive.
with the software, so when we get a copy of the invoices for the month, is there any way that it could be linked to it so we could just click like when we see the invoice line item, how it always cuts things off and is never complete and looks
I'm
weird?
hoping that you get more detail than what, I mean, that's significant or specific to Key Fund. So this is Spenbridge, you would see a different view.
Okay,
So Morgan, the question is, when we
Yeah.
do invoice APVs through Key Fund, the descriptions are limited to space. So are we limited in descriptions, or can they see the entire line or lines item?
They'll be able to see the entire line, they'll be able to see the entire invoice if they want to. All you have to do is click on it and it expands. So instead of working the invoices in Key Fund, you actually work them in Spenbridge. And then once it goes through final approval of it's ready to be paid, then it'll be transferred to Key Fund and you just batch your items and post them. So that the approvals are done in Spenbridge, so you're able to see a lot more detail.
how does, so back to the efficiency question. How does this help us, help you get to where we need to be? From a reconcile the reconcile the invoices, get the fund balances updated.
That's
And-
separate. So, but that gives me
Okay.
more time to work on that, Jeff.
Okay. If you could, can you quantify what that efficiency would help you do? I mean, like, does it take 20% off your workload? Does it take 15%, 40%?
I don't know how to do that, no.
Okay.
How long, how long would it take to, and a person to, transfer data to you? As far as, I mean, would you link to our files to pull the data, or would we have to data input?
So there's no more, data entry manually. It's all scanned through the system electronically, and our system reads and writes it into the line items for you.
Yes,
So,
that's,
to your
that's,
question about the time, sorry.
well, it's the transfer of data that I'm talking about, as far as originally. The beginning of doing this, is it that we would manually have to transfer the data? Or would it, you be linked to the files that we have and you're automatically pulling data?
Like your user IDs and your appropriation codes, is that what you're referencing?
Well, not necessarily. I'm talking about what's our files look like now. For example, we've got, X number of bills to pay. Do we have to submit that by hand into
Oh,
your system, or are you going to be able to link it and pull it through? That, because that's time
You-
consuming.
Yes, you'll actually be able to scan it. Most copiers, printers have a scanning ability. You can scan it to your email and then easily forward it into the system, and it will read the invoice for you so that you don't have to enter anything in. The system receives all kinds of invoices, whether they're PO or non-PO related. It could be services, utilities, you name it. But it's able to read all of those items, and I don't have to manually enter it.
What about history? Payment history, what we'd have here, how would that transfer into a new system so that we can see the history?
Yeah, you'll just start from when you have to go live.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
So would
That's what I was
have any
afraid of.
history. Well, but that's pretty much with any software.
Mm.
You've got to have a starting point.
And we start fresh every year with our vendors.
Yeah,
We've started
I
with-
know.
Still have your key fund history. Your data entry.
Yeah,
key
I know.
fund, You still have those histories.
Yeah, you'll just have not even an end date, but a stop date in key fund and then a start date in Spendbridge. So you'll know which one to pull if you need it for various reasons.
I know the company I just worked for just changed their whole computer system the 1st of December, and it automatically pulled everything directly into the new system. It was, no manual entry, and so all the history and everything went right along with it.
Yeah, I think the difference here is our history isn't somewhere you can pull it from. It's not loaded in a database they can pull it from.
Well, you're also not replacing key fund. This is like an
Right.
app that feeds into key fund.
Okay.
It's yeah.
So like I said, I think from a cost basis, it's a worst case is a wash, but if it's got an opportunity to improve efficiencies and
Yeah.
gain some time and we get caught up elsewhere.
Oh, definitely it does.
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. Okay.
Morgan, did you hear me speak in favor of this?
I did.
I still have to look into it.
What's that?
I still have to look into it.
What's your hesitation?
It's, I don't want to cloud, let's put it that way, but,
Well, key fund is moving to the cloud as well.
yeah,
We're
well,
going to be in the cloud.
Yeah, that's where
I understand.
it's more secure.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, is there a motion to approve the Spend Bridge software.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Greg. And I will second it. Open up for a discussion.
Is there a contract or is there something is there an action item here?
Handshake,
Right now, it's a handshake. Morgan, is there a specific contract that would be sent over?
Yes, I can send over the agreement. There's no escalations annually, you typically do it for a 3-year period. That's negotiable. Some people have done it for longer, some have done it for shorter, whatever you're comfortable with. We can change it that way, and if you decide that you do it for 2 years, at the end of 2 years, you want to renew it, you have the option to renew it.
Everything at this point, sounds like there's still some deal terms that
Yeah,
Needs to
so
look
maybe
at
the
it.
motion should be pending legal approval, legal review.
yeah, I mean, maybe approving in concept, Spend Bridge.
Okay.
You know, authorizing the negotiation of a Spend Bridge agreement, maybe that's the right way to put it, and then when the agreement is, the deal terms are prepared, then we bring it before council for signature.
Okay. So
Sounds good to me.
modify your motion, Greg.
Motion to move forward with it as far as
For legal review.
for legal review.
Yeah.
Okay, I make motion, we move forward with Spend Bridge for legal review.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion by Greg, second by Kathy. Open for discussion. No further discussion. We'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes. Motion carries.
Morgan, sorry.
I'm still
Like,
there.
move, Jeff. Can you send that over to me tomorrow or Monday?
Yes, I'll send it over in the morning.
All right, thank you, and then I'll be in touch.
All right, sounds great.
I appreciate
Thank
your
you all.
time.
Thanks, Morgan.
Yeah, no, thank you. Happy holidays.
Hey, you too.
Okay. So next item on the agenda.
I'm just gonna go back to you, now. Big screen.
Yes, I am. Okay, town manager reports.
Okay. All right, let's see if we can work through some things here in a timely manner. First up
Sorry.
is an approval for the 2024-2 CM Community Crossings NDOT agreement. Typically, we haven't had council approve this, but it occurred to me that perhaps we should have council approve this before Jeff signed. That's our substantive. I mean, but if you're okay with Jeff just signing, that's okay too, but it is, significant. So it's a draft here because maybe Jeff has already signed it. Did you get it via a DocuSign or something?
I did, but I didn't sign it because I was gonna ask you about it tonight.
Okay,
So it is not signed.
I recommend that you sign it, that the council approve this document so Jeff can sign it.
And this was the
This is the one for
Twin River and
Twin River and
St. Joe.
St. Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. Elm.
Elm. Okay. So this is the one we opened up the bids
Last
for
meeting.
last meeting.
And it was awarded to Niblock.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. So is there a motion to approve my signing of the 2024 call to CCMG NDOT agreement?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Greg, second by Kathy, open for discussion.
Maybe just to make sure, did Scott or George, was there any negotiating on this agreement? Has this been reviewed or is it ready to sign?
How long have you been out? This is NDOT.
Oh,
Yeah. You don't negotiate this. All right.
Sometimes, you always want to carry a big stake,
Sorry, this doesn't get negotiated.
Negotiation with NDOT. Here's what you get. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been on Indots into a couple things.
I mean, you guys were successful in changing some language on another agreement.
That's maybe what I was thinking.
Yeah, that was with the NDOT project here.
Okay.
I think they just didn't pay any attention to you guys. They just said, yeah, sure.
That sounds like NDOT.
All right, well, I've said it out loud, that's what I want to do, so.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, No further discussion, take a vote. Kathy Burke.
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have some pay orders. First up is Crosby Construction Pay Application number 4. This is a state revolving fund distribution request. Total amount would be $766,042, $727,739.90 goes to the contractor. The balance will be put in the retainage.
And this is SR request number 16 that was revised. It's the one that you approved last 2 meetings ago, I believe. But there were some numerical inconsistencies that SRF called out. So they corrected it, and this is coming back to you for your approval.
I make a motion, we approve application number 4 as corrected with $727,739.90 to the contractor with a retainage fund of $38,302.10.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion.
Actually, I do have one thing. Is the change they made, is that like the pennies? So on the document, it's like 727, 740, and then on the
No.
actual
More
thing.
significant.
Yeah,
So is that a
and
problem?
those,
Because,
they always round.
okay,
So if it's above 50 cents, they go up. If it's below, they go down. But this was several pages into the agreement, and there was more than one issue.
thank you.
Mhm.
You'll notice on that page, we are almost right at about 26% to complete the project.
Nice. Okay, no further discussion, we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
Next is a SRS distribution to Commonwealth Engineers for their work to date, $61,031.
I'll make that motion.
This is SRF request number 17. And Jeff, I have these all clipped together, so I'm just gonna send the packet to you when we're done.
Okay, so motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
Okay, another Crosby Construction Pay App number 5, which is SRF disbursement number, the request 18. I'm catching
Thank
on,
you.
Kathy. So you'll see the total amount of $742,157.01.
Gotta love the
You can
pennies.
See the breakdown between retainage and the contract.
Let's see, where's that one? This is the easiest for me.
Numbers are D.
oh, it's D.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve pay app number 5, SRF distribution request number 18?
Make that motion.
Second that. So motion by Greg, second by Jeff. Open for discussion.
I'd like to maybe state in the motion the amount of the retainage out of that total amount. That's what I didn't approve of last time. we
I
didn't.
will list that all in the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? No, we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
Last on this project is question approval of a change order. Number 2, additional contract costs for Crosby. A couple items are included here. First of all, there were some additional costs that in removing the material that was in the sludge beds. So there was some disagreement between the engineers in the town and the contractor, but we did negotiate a settlement between where we shared that difference. So that was about 30,000 of this. The rest of this has to do with, because there was some delay caused by that, we've incurred some additional costs for concrete because of the winter weather. A lot of the contract, predicted winter pouring, but more of that that portion of the contract got moved into cold weather, so there's some additional costs for that. We also had to make a change in the driveway to the facility as well. So that's the three primary items for this change order.
Okay. Your motion to approve change order number 2 in the amount of $64,051.30.
I'll make it.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
A second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, I'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is a yes. Motion carries.
Okay, next up is our 2 service agreements with Baker Tilly. And yes, Kathy, I noticed I missed the E on Baker Tilly.
Those are for the Justin. Thank you.
So there's some changes this year in our Baker Tilly contracts. We are going to on both of these, one's for the redevelopment commission and the others work within the TIFs rather. And the others just for our town consulting services. So we have determined a flat rate per month. And that we will pay and accumulate hours. If we use them, fine. If we don't, they get banked. And at the end of the year, we reconcile. I'm pretty sure we'll use all of these hours. This is another one I was a little bit of a hard sell on because just pay as you go. But I was persuaded that they have done some averaging on hourly costs. So we should save some money overall. Maybe our attorneys would like to know because we have the lower cost of trade. I don't want to average it with George. So I recommend approval of both of these agreements, 2 motions.
Yes, because one is for the town specifically
The
and
one's for
one is
the
for
TIF.
TIF. Yes.
Okay,
is it just a yearly agreement?
Yes.
What's the rate?
Well, it's a blended rate of different hours, but they're clear at the bottom. I think they list all of them.
I didn't find out
Service
stuff.
Here's the scope of work anyways. But the rates were right at the bottom.
And that's another.
Did
You don't have the rates in there?
106 of the, and then the middle page compensation invoice, that's where you're looking.
oh, yep. $2,200 per month, an annual cap of 105 hours logged per year. So,
So if only 100 hours are used, then that monthly fee is decreased by the percentage or the amount per hour, correct?
We'll reconcile at the end of the year.
okay,
Based on what's coming here in the first quarter, I would guess we're gonna use 105 hours next year.
I make a motion, we approve the 2025 service agreement with Baker Tilly for the TIF consulting work.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Jeff, second by Greg, open for discussion. Further discussion? No, we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beach is a yes. Motion carries.
sorry,
That's okay.
I was calculating stuff.
Next one would be the service agreement for the town consulting services.
Got the same fees?
Yeah, it should be. The hourly rate should be the same.
So what funds do these two come out of? Do they both come out of the same funds?
The TIF one will pull out of TIF. The TIF.
Of the
area.
TIF areas, okay,
The others are generally out of the town's general fund, or if I can shift them into edit or. some of the other
Contractual
funds.
services.
Yeah,
Mhm.
contractual.
Professional or contractual.
okay.
Yeah.
I make a motion. We accept the 2025 service agreement with Baker Tilly for the town consulting services.
Second that. Motion by Kathy, second by Jeff. Open for discussion. Further discussion, take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is yes, motion carries.
Okay, a couple quick updates. I'll wrap up my section. The Corn Dog Festival for 2025 will see some changes. Monogram no longer is, desires to have their staff manage and just manage the festival. So we really don't want to see that festival go away. So Bristol on the River has picked up the management of that festival. Monogram for kids will still support significantly to $35,000. And so the focus of the festival will remain the same as, you know, a fundraiser for the hub. But it will also, by necessity, need to create some additional profit. So Bristol on the River has hired Right Connections, that's Just Kosher, to manage that festival for them and do the fundraising. So that will be a change for the festival. The date will probably be the first Saturday, I believe, in September.
Can you remind us who's in Bristol on the River, who's in charge and what's the community there?
Right now, it's Ron Norman and Linda Powell, Rhonda Redbird,
Collins.
Collins, and one other person.
Okay.
The nice thing about Just Kosher's team is that they have a Bristol resident that will be handling as part of her team, and her name is somebody you probably know, and I can't recall right now.
You say Right Connections?
Yeah, the same person group that did our logo. Yes,
So they will manage the corn dog.
they are the management team.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had a couple options. Just wasn't necessarily the most expensive or the less expensive for the group. But because her team included two additional individuals, one of them which Alice, you'll come to me, a Bristol resident who is extremely good at managing festivals from everything I've heard. I like that connection to Bristol. And I think it's a way to re-energize Bristol on the River.
Yeah.
With some new blood.
Okay.
So that's a change I'll keep you apprised as we move through the year on how that comes together.
Okay.
Another project I'm started on is trying to get a signal at Stonemont and State Road 120. That intersection right now, based on a JPR traffic study, is a service level F for left-hand turns, left-hand in and left-hand out, especially out. In general, plans to add 22 semis a day to that facility going in and out. So that's not going to help. In addition, that's part of our primary detour route for our construction years, the next 2 years. So I contacted NDOT. The initial response was, well, when you open the railroad crossing and close Maple Street, it called for a signal. When are you going to do that? I said, like 12 months ago. We did. So that I was optimistic that we were going to get this light and maybe not have to pay for it. And then there was a follow-up said, well, the numbers have changed and maybe there won't be a light. So I just started this process and it's within that. So we'll hopefully, I think we need a light there. I think we need a light.
I would agree.
And I believe that Soaring Rail, where AM General's at, is going to be fully leased here soon, which will add additional, that's a distribution center essentially, that'll add additional traffic.
Yeah.
So we are working on that. Also, for some reason, residential seems to be the most interest right now in town rather than manufacturing growth. So we not only have the new project north of town on Montville Road, but we also have a developer out of Indianapolis that we visited with twice and is ready to move forward with a proposal on some property here. One property is in Bristol, the other property will be annexed if they decide to go that direction. So that's all good news.
Good.
That'll be significant activity on the redevelopment side because there'll be residential TIF involved.
Nice.
So we'll start working on that, and by spring, we may have a couple new residential developments underway.
Is it still going on out here on 120? Are they still discussing that?
That apartment complex, no, that's stalled.
Okay.
So I really can't tell you the other two parcels that are being,
That's okay.
but
I was just wondering.
I think you'll be excited about both of them.
Good.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Okay,
With respect.
anybody have questions for Mike? Okay, not Kathy, what do you have for us tonight?
A whole bunch. All right, the first is, I'm looking for the second reading or motion to approve the amended salary ordinance 12/19/2024-29. This was reviewed at the 12/5 meeting. This is to add Patrolman Joshua Dibley to the ordinance.
I make a motion, we adopt amended salary ordinance 12/19/2024-29.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Greg. Open for discussion.
Clarify, this is on second reading.
This
Yeah.
is on second reading.
No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beach is yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Next, this was given to me today. Jill was in conversation, and Steve, you might speak to some of this as well. This is concerning ghost employment, holiday time, vacation time, paid time leave. It's basically language amendments to the salary ordinance and the employee handbook. So I gave you a printout for, I don't think I gave you one on the ghost employment, but I believe we've talked about this previously. Alex, I gave you a copy. I believe a year or so ago, we spoke to this in meetings. So we would like to have this wording added to the handbook because currently we have nothing regarding ghost employment.
You're saying ghost employment?
Ghost employment.
What is ghost employment?
Halloween.
Welcome back, Alex. Welcome back.
They have to come dressed as a pumpkin, right?
We missed you.
Yes. Ghost employment, the idea that, a public servant employee of the town is, receiving public money through salary for work not done, basically. And that can mean a couple of different things. The way that this is, the way it's contemplated in the policy here is, being, let's say, employed by the town as, park superintendent, let's say, and while working as park superintendent and receiving pay, working a side job selling crafts. That would be, that potentially is ghost employment. It's, the idea that you're not devoting,
All your
full employment to the town while being paid.
Gotcha, okay,
And I think that's the family, but
that's okay. That works.
So where's the part in here about the ghost?
I may not have given you that specific sheet, Kath, like I said, I just got this a little bit ago.
Yeah.
But we do not have this language in our handbook and wanted to get it added.
So do you know what it says about ghost employment?
I do.
It's been approved by our handbook of consulting. Those are.
I can read it. It's 4 short paragraphs.
It has
but
been approved.
by New Focus gave us the language to put into our handbook. So I would like permission from the council to add the language of ghost employment into our handbook.
Saying that it's okay.
No,
No.
saying that this is not.
Saying it's approved. I'm going, what?
The language has been approved by the HR company that we work with,
That we're saying it's not okay.
that we're saying.
I make a
it's-
motion, we accept whatever she
Yeah.
says. Well, you confused me when
I
you said it's
appreciate
been
that.
approved.
The
and I'm
language, I
going,
think you're asking the language.
Right.
Yeah.
The language has been approved by New Focus, and we would like permission from council to add it to the 2025 handbook.
I make a motion, we add it to the handbook.
Okay, motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion.
For the clarity of the council, ghost employment is a crime in the state of Indiana. So just gives the town the opportunity to tell employees, there's something to be on notice of, that this is a crime and it's punishable.
Or look out for state.
Keep that in mind, Jimmy, keep that in mind.
Also, Kathy has a note,
Yes,
Indiana did away with class D felony concept.
okay,
It's probably the sixth felony.
Ooh, that's a good felony.
D used to be the low level felony and now 6 is the low level felony. That's a recodification.
okay, I will share that with New Focus tomorrow. They will probably send us updated language. But if council approves what they send us, or I can run it past Alex so that we can get it added to the handbook.
Ask Jill how outdated that was, some of the language in there with you, like, because that's gonna be what, 5, 6 years old.
Oh, it's gotta be older than
The
that.
employee handbook?
It's gotta be older than that.
Oh, no,
So-
no.
They do updates on the handbook annually.
Yeah,
Well, the deep felony we hadn't used in Indiana for
yeah.
at least 4 years, so
But-
longer.
2 years ago, we went through that page by page, but I wasn't familiar with felonies, so.
So it just makes me wonder if it's Mary not saying deep felony,
Yeah.
how old is the
Yeah.
other language?
So this is going into
In the updated,
in the
Handbook.
updated handbook, not just, I know there's a police handbook too, isn't
Yes, we have one,
Yeah.
but we're working on a new one.
there?
yeah,
Okay.
The statute probably hasn't been updated. I imagine the statute is probably the same as it was.
Yeah.
That could be what she's pulling from,
Yeah.
that I don't know, but I will ask her.
okay, any further discussion? Now I'll take a vote, Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is a yes, motion carries.
meetings.
That, Steve, would you like to talk to the holidays?
Yes.
Okay,
I would like to see the way we pay or compensate the holiday pay for the police department. Currently, the town has, and we follow the town side for their policy. There's 13 paid holidays now. It's reflective of kind of a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday schedule. Because if there's a holiday that falls on a Saturday or Sunday, it's observed by the town on like Friday or Monday, whatever, during the work week. We do shift work, we have 3 shifts, 3-hour shift, 8-hour shifts, 24 hours a day. The way they compensate it now is if an officer works a holiday, they get paid normal pay for that day, plus they get, comp time at time and a half, so 12 hours of comp time in addition to the regular pay.
and just to reference, each of you have a sheet like this that has all those details on it.
Yeah.
And
Of what is current and what is proposed.
And I kind of talked about it in the email I sent a couple days ago too, so hopefully I explained this right. What I'd like to see, it's really killing our schedule. Number one, we have a 40-hour cap on the comp time that we can carry on the books. So what happens when all these holidays hit, they most of the time get paid out. Because what happens after the 40 hours, get paid out of the overtime rate. The other thing is doing is, it's killing our schedule as far as, they're getting the comp time and it's quite a bit. If you think about 13 holidays at 8 hours a day, that's quite a bit. And then take it by how many officers we have. We only have 2 people on our staff, myself and Ashley, that don't get compensated that way because we're not under that pay, whatever,
Yeah.
but. So what I am proposing, and I had this at Goshen, I know other departments do it this way. Just pay out the holidays, a one-time deal, and instead of like pay them, like, I think I sent that sheet to you, but, so 13 paid holidays, just pay each officer the holiday paycheck in 1st of December, instead of paying it out in comp time and then figuring out who's at 40 or whatever. That way we can budget for it, we know what the cost is gonna be at the end of the year. We're not getting the comp time is gonna take people away from the schedule. The other thing it does too, in the past, they'd actually short schedule us because of, like, if we had, say, 3 guys working that day, they're saying, well, one guy take holiday, so they don't get the time and a half comp time. So we're losing an officer on the ship there just because they don't want to pay the extra benefit. So I think it would help us with the schedule. It would help us with budgeting. I think I costed it out, next year, under next year's salary ordinance.
Was it 36?
Yeah, 36,000, I think would be the cost, and we're nearly paying that now in overtime, or in the comp time once it's converted. So it's just be a lot easier for us all around.
So that would be 11 officers that would be paid 8 hours for 13 holidays, right?
Well, actually, no, because I would not be,
Oh, that's right. It would just be
then Ashley would not be either.
10. Okay, so you have 10 officers at 8 hours for a holiday pay. 80 hours times 13 holidays. 1,040 hours. And then hourly rate would be based
Yeah,
on,
and I broke that down in that sheet I sent attached to the email.
okay,
Each officer, and the whole rate was, so
Okay.
it's just something to consider. It really would help us out. in the
Yeah.
long run.
because that comp time's always, I don't know that I've ever agreed with that. It's difficult to manage.
Well, as
Well,
far as accounting goes too, it's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
mean,
the other thing we've been doing to the guys that are not working, and we're following a procedure and not necessarily the town's policy. The guys that aren't working the holiday, they're getting comped 8 hours if they don't work it. And that's not in our policy. And I talked to Jill and she said, well, that's the way we've done it. So, so there's actually more,
so if you've got 3 guys that work, you have 7 that get 8 hours for
Yeah.
not working.
so I think in lieu of just simplicity and
Yeah.
us managing our
Yeah.
schedule, it would work out very well for us.
Yeah, and then comp time really comes down to just what you work over your 8-hour shift.
And then the other thing, in addition to this, with comp time, before, you could carry up to 40 hours, and then after 40 hours, we would just pay it out once they get it above that.
Yeah.
Well, Jill said that we're going to have to follow the policy where the guys can come to us at any time and say, I have 40 hours, I want paid for that 20. We weren't doing that before, and Jill said this is a new policy or a new way they're doing it, so. You know, we could be paying throughout the year, the guys could zero it out, if they want any time, so it's difficult to budget that too.
oh yeah.
It's hitting overtime budget pretty hard.
Okay,
So Kathy, from New Focus did make a note that she would prefer the holiday be paid straight time. And when they actually work that day, that'd be the time and a half, instead of paying out the holiday at time and a half.
Because they're taking away any of the both, like they're getting time and a half comp time now, and then they're getting them paid out at time and a half. If they're above 40, so if we're going back to straight time, they're losing part of that benefit for the holiday. So I would ask that it stay at time and a half. It just be paid at time and a half for the hours that is.
for those full 1,000 hours.
Yes. They're already being compensated now with comp time at time and a half. And then it's converted over eventually after the 40. So if you go down the straight time, they're actually losing some of that benefit. I don't want it to go backwards.
How would they, I'm not following.
So then,
If they're getting,
officers that don't work would get paid straight time.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, there's an additional cost, a small cost. I think it's from what we're paying out now, that doesn't include the guys that come and want to zero out or reduce their comp time below 40, but I think this would be an additional cost. This rough estimate of about $6,000.
So basically you would pull out all the holiday days and nobody would be paid on that actual day.
Right, it's just like a regular day, it's not a holiday.
So let's say, New Year's Day falls on a Monday. And you have 3 officers that work Monday.
Mhm.
New Year's Day. They would get their regular pay and then they would also get the holiday pay? Or they were
Now, or are you talking about what I'm proposing?
proposing,
It'd just be a regular work day. If they're scheduled that day, they get paid regular pay that day. We kind of take the holiday out. The only time the holiday comes in is we're just paying a one-time check for all the holidays.
At the end of the year.
At the end of, at the first pay, Jill suggested the first pay period in December.
okay, so then the officers at work would get paid their regular shift for the holiday, if they worked New Year's Day. And the ones that didn't work, they wouldn't get paid, but then at the end of the year, everybody gets the holiday pay.
Yes.
So in essence, the officers that work on a holiday get paid double time.
They're getting holiday plus
They're getting-
8 hours.
They're getting their holiday pay at the end of the year, plus they're getting paid for the day they actually work.
Right.
So it would be, it would be not time and a half, but double
Double
time. Is it, am I making sense there or
You're
not?
still getting paid. Speak on yourself.
No, go ahead. Dave.
When you work on the holiday, you're getting your 8 hours right now, you get 8 hours regular pay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Plus you get
Time and a half.
time and a half. So you're at 2.5 times.
2.5 time, okay,
Because your comp time's accrued at time and a half. So you're getting the 12 that you're paying out,
okay,
plus you're paying your 8 hours regular. So you're paying for, if I work one holiday, my regular 8 plus my 12 hour, you're basically paying for 20 hours you work on a holiday.
Mhm.
okay. And then, so that's if you work the holiday.
If I work the holiday.
If Kyle doesn't work the holiday,
If
he
doesn't-
he gets paid the time and a half for 8 hours.
No.
No, he just
No.
gets flat 8 hours, that's it.
Flat.
Holiday
Not
pay.
even supposed to be getting that. We just, the town has been doing that.
Because we
Okay.
considered holidays a benefit, so
So-
we're gonna pay them.
So then, Steve, you're asking that the holiday pay be paid at time and a half.
Just flat for everybody for the 13 holidays at 8 hours.
Okay,
Kind of like if they don't take vacation all year long, they get it in a lump sum at the end of the year.
yeah,
Similar, I guess.
okay,
And there's, certain amount of rollover, but
And if people want, it actually helps us manage the other vacation and personal time we have, because if somebody wants the holiday off, I'll use Detective Russo as an example. Right now, he gets Christmas and Christmas Eve off. If we were doing it this way and he wanted to take those off, he would still get that check at the end of the year, but those days off, he would have to use vacation, personal or comp time.
mhm,
So it helps alleviate those and bring those down.
okay,
it makes sense.
okay. Anybody thoughts on it?
It makes sense now. Yeah, we get.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm a little curious of when you said if they work 8 hours on a holiday, they're actually gonna get 2.5 hours pay. They're 8 hours plus time and a half.
The way they currently, yes, they get their
8 hours regular
8
pay.
hours regular pay, just like a regular.
Plus,
pay.
it's 12 hours, which is basically.
They get
it-
12
it-
12
hours. So if you add two numbers together.
It's 2.5 times. Yeah,
so.
That's how it's written that.
Yeah, it's written weird.
Or overtime rate.
Oh, I see, at the overtime rate,
So
okay.
yeah, you get 8 hours of comp time for working all day, but it's
Yeah.
accrued at 10, so then you get 12 hours.
Okay,
Base pay.
okay,
And you can see like if you see the overtime budget, what we're paying out, like you can tell when the holidays are hitting, it always just nails us.
Thanksgiving, Christmas and New Year, because we have multiple guys that work all 6 of those holidays, so 6 times 12. That's a lot of hours going into
Yeah.
comp time that they're getting paid for.
Yeah.
I know myself, I think I work every holiday. So,
Okay.
Okay, get it now.
Anybody opposed to it, or? And I like the idea of simplicity because I've always struggled with comp time. It's difficult to manage.
Yeah.
Uh,
We just have so many holidays.
Yeah.
Combine that, I mean, it is a scheduling nightmare.
Yeah, it is.
Say we have too many holidays.
Yes, federal holidays are out of hand.
And just I want to point out, the police side did not propose the holiday. They tell us that. We'll take them, they're gonna give it to us.
Yeah, 13 is a lot,
It is.
even for private sector. I
My
mean,
new job, I just got it.
It's huge for the holidays.
Now, this would be included into the salary ordinance, correct? Was contemplated.
Correct.
Would probably, I mean, to the extent the council wants to move forward with it, we certainly want to make sure that the language, we can take a look at, at what the HR folks have put together. But the important thing, I mean, both for the officers and for the town, since there's some comp time considerations and there's straight time and everything else, you get into these FLSA considerations, the town needs to make sure that its bases are covered. And that while I think it seems to make sense to provide compensation for holiday pay this way, the FLSA can be very tricky on how comp time is calculated and, you know, even shorting somebody an hour, the law doesn't allow you to do that. And so, you know, the value for an hour worked. So I think we want to make sure that we take a look at that language and very deliberate, to ensure that the employees are protected and the town's protected.
The language has not been included in that salary ordinance that we're about to. do
The
next
language
year.
was given,
Okay, so we can approve the salary ordinance coming up here for next year and then amend it in January to include the new language. Is that the process?
or council can approve that with legal counsel's approval, we can include it in the 2025 handbook. Or if that's not enough time, Alex, for you to review, yes, we can do an amendment in January.
Yeah, when you say time to review, you mean like before the 2025 ordinance is brought up in a minute, or?
Well, yes.
Where you been
No.
all this time anyway?
No, before 2025.
Yeah, I think, I don't think it's a heavy lift. I think the language is probably right there. If anything, to make sure everyone's on the same page as far as how that's gonna be spelled out, not only in the ordinance, but then in the handbook as well. I think it just makes the most sense.
And if not, if you come into a hiccup, we could still share the 25 handbook with the employees come January 1st and still do an amendment as needed.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure we get the
Yeah,
handbook out to
yeah.
everybody at the first of the year.
I guess my preference would be because we don't have it defined yet,
Mhm.
because we want to put Steve's language in there.
I want to know how many.
To clarify the time and a half, get rid of the comp time. I think my preference would be let's approve the salary ordinance for 2025. And then amend the handbook accordingly and then amend the salary ordinance to
Okay.
match.
I want to know what holidays are 13 holidays, because I come up
Um,
with 8.
You have those in front of you, my dear.
Weird.
See that colored calendar?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Oh,
then,
you're
So
kidding.
first question is whether or not you will adopt the 2025 handbook that Jill shared with you in her email along with,
yeah,
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
is that,
That's what the changes with ghost employment.
okay, we already approved that.
You approved the ghost employment and the handbook that she sent out as is, so that's without any of this discussion included.
Yeah,
So that
So-
would be an adoption of the shared 2025 handbook, plus
so
the
you,
ghost
so you need a
employment.
motion for that.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Or we can talk
Wow.
about the vacation and stuff, okay.
Yep.
okay, so is
So-
there,
That being said,
okay,
thanks, Steve. there's more to this page that I shared with you, which is also language. So vacation, some of the language listed there in the table at the bottom of that memo states that on January 1st, after an employee's first anniversary, then they will get their 40 hours of vacation time. Well, if you
Okay.
start in February and have to wait a whole year, we want to change the language to on January 1st following the employee's date of hire. So they're not necessarily waiting a year and a half or 2 years to get their 40 hours of vacation time.
Gosh, I thought we
Can I
already.
throw something out?
Absolutely.
I don't like using the calendar year for the anniversary. I would like to see using your anniversary date of hire to calculate your vacation, because what's happening now.
Steve, you're killing us.
Well, I'm just logistically, I don't know, it's very awkward how they do it.
It is, but if you have 5 employees, that works well and good. But when you have as many employees as we do to do the anniversary dates,
Well, here's the problem.
we can make
changed
it work
that
whatever
years ago.
council decides.
Well, I'll
It
tell
used
you
to
how
be
it-
that.
Sorry.
I
I'll
mean,
tell you how it affects us. If you're going off of January and what you just started to say, if somebody gets hired January 2nd per the town manual, they're gonna end up basically going almost 2 years, 4 years before they get their 40 hours.
No,
Other
No,
than
no.
they get
not if,
8 hours every 2 months.
not if we change that wording though, Steve.
Okay, what, with the biggest thing that hurts us, if we do the calendar year instead of the anniversary, like this year, a lot of guys are carrying their vacation, so November, December, our schedule is tight because guys are trying to get their vacation in. Because per policy is they have to get them done by the end of the year or they lose them. If you go by their anniversary date of hire, then they're staggered, because not everybody's hired on January 1st, so it actually helps scheduling or our schedule, so they're kind of throughout the year. I know on your end, it's probably harder to track, but, we're not the first ones to come up with this system. I think most people use the anniversary date, not the calendar year.
This was discussed, oh gosh, 7, 8 years ago, when we changed it to the calendar year.
Yeah.
So that they got so much vacation for so many months of the year that they're in. And then, January 1st starts a whole year. But they still got vacation, like if they started in July, they would still get,
It'd be prorated.
it would be prorated per the number of months they worked in that year. They got that vacation.
With a cap of 40, so like you said, if somebody gets hired, then unless something has changed that I'm not aware of, or at least I didn't follow very well. Like if you get hired January 2nd, per the policy, you go January 2nd to the 1 year anniversary of that, but you still have to get another full year before you get your 40 hours.
Not with
No.
this wording change, so it would be, the way you're thinking is the old version, so to speak.
What we-
So then, yeah, what we've been doing, and the new version would be as of January 1st, no matter what your hire date was, then you get that 40 hours.
So Mr. Dibley that was hired last week will get his 40 hour vacation. See, I'm not necessarily on board with that either.
So we can table this portion
Okay.
and talk more about it.
See, I thought it wasn't just a flat 40 hours. I thought it was per the number of months in the previous year that they worked. For example, if they start, like I said, in July, then they get August, September, October, November, December. That's 5 months. Starting January 1st, and then it goes to the full year vacation.
So Steve, you'd be opposed to Dibley getting it because he hasn't worked a full year?
Yeah, he's on off probation or whatever.
Right.
He's worked 2 weeks and it gets his 40 hours.
No, he shouldn't.
Well-
According to the new
Yeah.
language, he would.
In 2025, you would.
Mhm.
Oh, that
In
doesn't. make
2025, you get
sense.
his 40 hours.
Yeah,
Which so just going through this myself, I just started January 9th or December 9th. Come January 1, I get 3 weeks vacation.
yeah.
I don't have to work a full year to earn that pay. That was part of an agreement my hire agreement, that I got 3 weeks.
Well, for me, I'd like to get it so it's a little more streamlined, so that's not gonna be a deal breaker. I mean, that's more of a benefit to him. I really don't like taking away benefits, but to the guy that got hired February first and had to wait, you know. Now, they're not changing the wording in there where that for every 2 months work, they get 8 hours and so
But-
that's gonna stay in place, so that, yeah.
Yeah,
guess
and
I-
we were,
yeah.
I mean, this all came into play and we were just trying to get everything in alignment
Mhm.
to pass for tonight, so we can table it and we can talk more about it.
Yeah, the biggest thing I think with me is I'd like to do anniversary instead of calendar, but whatever the council
I have to go back
decides.
on my notes, and there was a specific reason
Yeah,
why
there was a
we
reason
changed
why.
that.
Well,
Yeah,
it says upon hire, transfer and eligible employment classification. So if you're on probation, would that help change it? If you don't actually qualify until after you've left probation? And you're actually,
We don't actually have the wording in the probation. in,
Yeah.
no,
Salary ordinance or anything,
Do you have a specific SOP for that?
we don't.
Still working on,
Yeah,
okay,
well, we have the old ones, then we've got the new ones, we've had 2 years, they haven't been issued, and we still need to go through those, because those weren't done, so I mean, we have policies, but I don't wanna change this to, for the old policy, then we're gonna change it here
Yeah.
in 2 months.
I really wanna look at.
I'd be more in favor of keeping it January 1 as opposed to the higher date. I get why you want it. I see both sides of it, Steve.
Oh, that's fine.
But I think
Good, then I can put-
from an overall policy, I'd like to see it remain January 1, because I think it's easier to track that.
Yeah, it's not automatically, like you said, if somebody's hired the 1st of December, that, 1st of January, they get a whole year's vacation. That's not, wasn't it? It was scheduled so that it's proactive. I mean, it's prorated, I'm sorry. Like they get 1 month of their full year's vacation. That's what, starting January 1. If they started in January, they'd get a full year of the previous year.
I don't think that's how we had it set up, yeah.
That's the way it was supposed to be set up when we.
Well, I don't know at what time, so why don't we just table that portion?
I'll have to
Okay.
look at it.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
what it was.
we'll look more into that.
I remember doing it. Yeah.
So then what components of this change do we want to
I don't.
approve? What are you asking us to approve then?
You already proved part of it, right?
Well, the holiday time requires language. We're not doing anything with any of this tonight. I am sorry to say. So we will work with Steve and Alex and New Focus on languages, and we will bring some other options to you in January.
Okay,
Okay, so at this point, I would like to have you approve or adopt the 2025 handbook, adding the ghost employment information.
okay,
I'll make that motion. Approve the 2025 handbook, adding the ghost information.
okay. Motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is a yes, motion carries.
Okay. Next is the adoption of the 2025 salary ordinance as it was presented December 5th for the first reading. So this is the adoption of salary ordinance number 12-19 2024-28.
Okay,
Didn't we just do that?
And this is on second reading.
no, we just did,
Oh, this is 28.
we did 28, we did 29. Which was the change for
That was
I
adding
knew-
Officer Dibley.
Dibley. So is there a motion to approve salary ordinance, the 2025 salary ordinance number 12-19 2024-28?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Greg. I will second that. Open for discussion.
Just for clarity, is on second reading.
Yes, on second reading, yep.
You would have missed the first.
I was gonna, was afraid we were gonna ask to suspend the rules and.
No, we did it
We did it
We
official.
did.
kindly this time.
Yeah,
I'll explain off the record what my concern.
George kept us straight.
okay, no further discussion, like a vote, Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky,
Yes.
and Jeff Beechey, yes, motion carries.
All right, the next portion of our program
Mm.
is resolution number 12-19-2024-13. This is a resolution for the council president to choose or appoint 3 members to the RDC and for the council members to appoint 2 members to the RDC. Once appointed, come January at the first RDC meeting, that's when titles will be assigned. Do you have anything to add to that?
Nope. Sounds good.
Okay, so. Is there a motion to adopt this,
Well, I need,
There's some fill in the blank.
yep,
Yeah.
council president Jeff Beechey appoints.
I appoint Greg Dolsky, Kathy Burke, and Doug DeSmith.
And council members appoint,
Jeff Beechey. You think so, Greg?
Yeah.
Think Jeff's gotta be on there.
Maybe.
Can we volunteer? Dean, is that okay?
Sure.
I think council members, not just me.
all right, so then I need a motion to approve resolution 12-19-2024-13 with the aforementioned appointees.
Make that motion.
Motion by Kathy,
I'll second.
second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, like a vote, Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, is a yes, motion carries.
it's amazing. Five people we put in.
Just for the record, the 2025 budget was approved by the Department of Government Finances.
Yay. No big cuts, huh?
No,
We've had big cuts in the past. Oh, we've had 80,000, 90,000.
and last on my list is the annual certification of elected officers. And I'll need your help defining this, so to speak, for nepotism or
Oh,
anti-nepotism.
Sure, yeah. Against nepotism. Anti-nepotism.
Yes. So this is an annual policy that everyone signs, stating that they did not supervise anybody that is related to them this calendar year. How's that?
Sounds good.
we're passing everything.
That is all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Did you want to? approve?
Permission to pay bills through end of year, you've got it written down.
Yeah,
Oh, would the council please approve the clerk treasurer's office to pay any bills that are within my realm?
I make a
Prior
motion
to
to
next-
pay any bills any within your realm through year end.
Thank you.
Second.
okay, motion by Kathy, second by Greg, open for discussion. No further discussion, like a vote. Kathy
Yes.
Burke, Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
Jeff Beechey, is a yes, motion carries.
Now I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving along rapidly. Steve, what do you have for us tonight?
Real quick, the report, the monthly report, and we talked about a few purchase things that I sent out earlier. I'll find it in this mess here. For November, we've investigated 50 cases. 8 of those cases were closed by immediate arrest. 1 was battery, 2 burglaries, 2 possession of methamphetamine, 3 frauds, 1 death investigation, 1 theft, 1 warrant arrest, 1 auto theft, 1 resisting arrest and 6 possession of marijuana. As far as traffic enforcement, we investigated 12 vehicle crashes, 1 was an injury crash. We issued 60 traffic citations, 6 of those citations were driving while license suspended or never receiving a license. We issued 46 warning tickets, calls from services were 509, the actual calls were 341. I did do some checking, somebody had asked me about the difference there, and what the calls for services would include every call, but every officer. So if we have 2 officers on the call, that would count under calls for services and double on that.
Mhm.
So our actual, like if somebody called 1 incident would be 340. So that's how that was broken down.
Okay.
We impounded 9 vehicles, we sold 12,426 miles. Our code enforcement. Page here, but, so. He did, 41 total violations, 1 animal, 14 parking, 1 noise, 5 nuisance, 17 signs, 2 trash on property, and 1 other. 5 of those were initiated by citizen complaints, and 36 of those complaints were proactive, initiated by an ordinance officer. So that's the monthly report. Getting into the, we're trying to, finish some purchases for this year, under this year's budget. The one thing I think we talked this last meeting about the taser purchases. So we've got the invoice for those, we actually received what the total cost was for 8, new taser 7s and, the cartridges and training cartridges, everything we need to do that would be 23,520. I broke it down, we have $20,000 in the lit fund for police weapons, and then the other additional would come under the lit, one of the lit lines for training supplies. Where there's enough money to cover the additional costs on that.
Okay.
Second larger item is, we're gonna need 3 additional in-car video camera systems for the new squad cars. They've changed the way they did that also now. We cannot purchase the system that we currently have, they're gone away with that. They're doing it now instead of where we're maintaining the files and storing the video files here. They're going to an iCloud storage, which Kathy likes, but then they charge a fee for that. So with the three systems with the unlimited storage, because we have to maintain these video files by statute for a certain length of time, depending on what kind of crime it is, whatever. So the unlimited storage would be most beneficial for us, that way they're dealing with it. So cost for those 3 new in-car camera systems with the storage is $33,690. Digital Ally, the supplier who we use now, they break it down into a 5-year cost, and I don't believe there's any interest or anything, but so first year is a little more expensive, it's $6,906, and the next 4 years for that purchase would be $6,696. So what we'd be pulling out of this year's budget would be the 6,906 for the 3 cameras.
So it's kind of like a work
But then,
lease purchase type
Yeah,
deal.
that is a purchase, not a lease, right?
correct.
And that purchase price includes the cloud storage?
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing we're gonna have, we already have the body cameras, and we have some extra body cameras. Their new system ideally would have the new body cameras, which is quite a substantial additional cost. So it's just all integrated. Our current cameras would integrate into the system. It worked like activation, whatever, but we ended up having to download the camera or the body cameras like we do now, so just a little extra work for our guys, but for the cost, I think I'm okay with doing the way we're doing it now.
Okay,
And, lastly, well, there's just a couple other things, but what I had sent you, the radar units for in-car for the 3 new vehicles, cost us $6,390. We could take that out. There were some additional funds left in the CCD line for police vehicle. We had enough money left over in that line to, after purchasing the police vehicle, which we just picked up yesterday. Actually, so we could cover that, the 6,390 in that line. And, ammo purchase, we're trying to purchase ammo, for the end of the year, to supply for next year, it's in the budget for next year. We had a little, we worked with, Greg, with a new vendor. We're actually being able to purchase probably double the ammo that we were purchasing before for less price. Here, or this too, I can't remember I have it here, but, so we went to purchase the ammo. The only thing is, it's an online thing, and they require a credit card purchase, which usually it's not a big deal. The town currently does not have enough, it's $5,000 or something. The town does not have enough room on the credit card to do that. So we can't make that purchase, so I don't know, suggesting if, do we need to encumber those funds, or how does that work?
We've talked about this, so we're in the process of increasing our line because we just have a small limit, because we don't use our credit card very often. So we're looking to increase that, but in the process, say that doesn't get increased by the end of the year, then Steve can go to the vendor, he can ask for an invoice or a PO. So as long as we have that stipulating what the requested purchase is, we can encumber those funds and pay it in January.
And the only thing I can get from them is basically a printout from like what we're ordering, that specifies how many, what the actual thing is, the total cost. Like basically a screenshot from your checkout card from online. I don't know if that's gonna be adequate or not.
I'll have to look at it, see.
I have a vendor locally too that would be on the practice ammo the same price as what that is.
Okay,
So if you needed to break it up to meet the credit card demands, it'd be doable by the
We have-
year.
yeah, we have plenty of money in that line for the 2024 budget.
But they won't take a check.
Yeah, they won't take a check, they won't do anything other.
You can't get a prepaid credit card
Why would we?
for that amount.
Why would the town do that?
I don't know.
It's more money, but
Yeah.
I mean, if it need to be done by the end of the year, if it's quicker, there is a local vendor that is running a sale right now, at the same price that I showed you from that vendor, that we could do all the practice ammo from. And they actually have a military or a law enforcement discount on top of that.
Okay,
And maybe they'll take a check.
They will take a check.
There you
I
go.
talked to them last week.
okay, you have time tomorrow to work with me on that.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna be going there tomorrow.
Okay.
So we might be able to,
I think that, I'm sorry, I took so much of everyone's time.
No, hey, don't apologize, I'm still here for it. Okay, so let's break this down.
So you're looking for approval to encumber all these funds.
But I talked to Mike a little bit about it, I'm not exactly sure how this works, I just want, I mean, obviously, they're a little bit bigger purchases, we've had some other smaller ones for doing equipment, but these are kind of the main ones, we're looking to get at least the money out of this year's budget for.
Yeah.
these items.
Yeah. So the tasers, are we done, or is that, do we need to do anything with that, or is that already,
We already did that.
you already?
Steve, what
approved?
purchases will not be done by year end?
We've got like for the tasers, I've got, I signed an agreement with them, we've got the purchase order for that. I can give you for that. I think for the cameras too, I actually have like an invoice, whatever, so I don't know if you have to encumber that money.
If you have an invoice and are ready to purchase it, we can take care of it tomorrow.
Okay,
But if you have a vendor that isn't ready, like your car, for example, those take months to do, but you know you're gonna purchase it, we would encumber the funds via some paperwork so that you can make that purchase in January if needed. So the question is, what can we pay before the end of the year? What are you ready to purchase?
I think I think the radar units, the taser and the in-car cameras, I think we can do that. I've got purchase order, the invoice for all three of those.
Okay,
I'll just get with you all that if you don't need to do anything here. I just wasn't sure what product.
So do you- okay.
no, not at all.
Because the amount on the video cameras, do we need approval on that?
Council should just approve the purchases.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
That's what I thought.
I'm just trying to break this down. So we've already approved the purchase of the tasers. We did that earlier. So next would be the approval of the in-car video systems,
Mhm.
which is 33,690. So that would be one motion. The next would be
Right.
the radar units, because the vehicle's already taken care of. So the radar units would be. Where did I see that?
6,390.
Yeah. Okay, so just those two.
No, 6.
Just looking. Where was
You
the,
approved tasers last meeting.
what was the price on the three radar units?
And what was the
6,380.
radar? Oh, there wasn't another one after that, other than the one we already approved. Okay.
You know, is that in your email as well?
What was-
Third paragraph.
Okay, there we go, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. So. Two motions, right?
You could do them both at the same time if you wanted. You have all the details, whatever's easier.
Yeah, why don't we, just for safety's sake, let's just do one at a time. So is there a motion to approve the 3 in-car video systems in the amount of $33,690?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Greg, second by Kathy, open for discussion. No further discussion, take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg DeHolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is a yes. Next would be
radar.
the 3 radar, in-car radar units in the amount of $6,390. And I will make a motion that we approve that.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Jeff, second by Kathy, open for discussion. No further discussion, take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes,
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach, yes. Motion carries. Okay. Was there anything else we needed to do on that?
I think I'm good, I appreciate.
Okay,
You address the ammunition. Versus the ammunition.
If we can pay by check, we can take care of that before year end. He's gonna talk with the new vendor.
it's already in the budget.
Already in budget.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already,
Yes.
yeah, it's already in the line item budget. Okay, anybody have anything for Steve?
Mhm.
If not, thank you for the report. Thank you for all you do. And you two gentlemen as well, thank you. You guys stay safe out there. All right, Nick. Good evening.
Make this short and sweet.
Okay.
yeah.
You got, what the heck? You gotta be good. Hey, 75 emergency calls in November, 274 responses for us, a little down a little bit in November, which we'll take that. We'll double down already for December. I don't know why, but it's just the way the world works, I guess. Still short a couple people, which we're working on. The tower passed its pump test on December 16th, so we're excited about that, but it's getting its teeth.
Cool, got all the purchases.
It's getting its teeth.
Yeah. That's not even the new part, so we still got 3.
Oh.
This skin of his teeth. Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did have a great time with the Christmas tree lighting. Thank you for allowing us to be part of that great event. You guys put on it. It's a good time. You know, if you've never been to it, it is pretty fun. We delivered toys on Saturday, December 7th. We tied this year with Oslo, so we've come to the agreement that we're gonna keep that trophy for 6 months and then give it to them for 6 months. So, worked out well. They've had a lot of toys delivered that day. It was good. Our picture fundraiser is winding down. If you would still like to donate and get a picture, the last picture date, January 18th, 2025. Definitely appreciate everyone's support during this entire picture fundraisers, the extra fundraisers we've done to get lights for the tree and things like that, and all throughout the year. We do appreciate that. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Look forward to working with everybody again next year. And on that note, I did give Kathy the 2025 contract. For you guys to take a look at and include and sign if you could, or so we can move into the 2025 year.
Okay,
Other than that, that is
Just got that letter this week.
thank you, Nick.
probably.
Anybody have any questions for Nick? If not, thank you to you and your staff, and pray that you guys stay safe, and hopefully you stay at the firehouse and don't go anywhere.
We like it that way.
I do too.
It's these days.
I like not hearing those sirens.
I know. Usually one shift, somebody's shift that don't hear very many sirens going.
Yes.
Take it.
Okay.
Next shift gets blasted.
Can we piggyback off of
Park
that?
board report.
Jeff, can we piggyback off of that? Because we have their agreement for services.
Oh,
that
yeah.
We just got.
Okay.
So this agreement, their annual service fee is in the amount of $920,114. And Mike has that earmarked, was it South Fifth,
South and east tip.
to be paid out of.
Okay.
So we are looking for a motion to approve that agreement for services.
Okay. Make a motion that we approve the fire department contract for 2025 in the amount of $920,114.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Jeff, second by Kathy. Open for discussion. Out of curiosity, Nick, can you share what was the Washington Township portion?
I will have to look. I don't know right off.
It's over $1 million, though, isn't it?
What their total portion?
Yeah.
Or the whole budget,
No, just their total portion.
but it's not over.
Not over, $1 million. Okay,
No,
okay.
and I'd still like to know the number of calls in city versus the number of calls outside
Can you
in the
address that,
last
Craig?
year.
Oh, that was
That'd be
The true
interesting.
prior year.
a year and a half ago already outdated.
Yeah, just throw me an email or something.
Well,
That'd be nice.
there's no way of figuring it out without going through the call logs
Yeah.
Well,
and typing
They
in.
got a pretty good idea.
he can give me a ballpark.
Just saying, it's a lot of hours.
Here's a lot.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just kind of curious proportionate wise.
Okay, any further discussion?
Motions to approve, the contract and the amount, happy to take a look at it, make sure. Put the stamp of approval on, just.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
motion to approve pending legal review.
Yeah, that's the one I seconded.
It's like he needs to make up some hours or something. Is that what
Yeah.
you're picking up on tonight?
That's right. Hey, it's,
He sees a contract, he said, "There's my contract." He
Oh,
wants
I
to
can
look at
scratch it already. Must have just shaved the day.
Okay,
Signed or not signed?
let me glance at it first. I don't think it's a heavy lift. I think if council approves the allocation, approves the agreement, subject to
I think
sign off.
it's usually the same every year.
This is like Glenn all over.
Okay, Glenn.
oh.
Oh,
Oh.
That was a low blow. Oh, Steve, Glenn was our turn it to.
I had a big conversation a month ago.
Bill, I can't, I can't believe you did this.
He'd explain the same thing to us every meeting that he had explained for 20 years.
If you need to wait till next meeting.
Alex, let me take a copy of it before you leave.
Okay, any further discussion? And now we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky, yes, and Jeff Beechey, yes.
Motion
Carries.
I think we can all stop by and sign in if we've already approved them and sign.
Okay, Park Board report. Who's got that?
Well, you weren't at that meeting, were you?
Well, it's in your packet. I'd recommend you
That was,
review it.
no, that was November meeting minutes.
Well,
That was in the packet.
then they should get me updated minutes.
That's correct.
So the most important thing for you guys to do tonight is to appoint
Yeah.
Michael Robb.
He has agreed, if appointed, that he would serve a 2nd-year term, which is 4 years. Michael Ropp runs the community garden. He is engaged member of the park board.
Oh.
And would go for another 4 years.
I make a motion we appoint Michael Robb to the park board for 4 years.
Second.
Okay, motion by Greg, second by Kathy, open for discussion. No further discussion, we'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beechey, yes. Motion carries.
Now we're down to him.
Okay. Alex, welcome back.
Evening, council.
What do you have for him?
Yo.
I have for you this evening, what is on second reading. For ordinance number 2024-27, which is an ordinance of the town council of the town of Bristol, Indiana, authorizing off-road vehicles on highways under the jurisdiction of the town of Bristol, Indiana. And imposing requirements, conditions, and restrictions for such. Procedurally, like I said, this is on second reading before the council's second reading and adoption this evening. I believe this is postured for, the agenda indicates, for public hearing. I think it's appropriate to do so to the extent that members of the public would like to comment.
Sure.
This has been, my understanding, this has been introduced to the council. I think this makes some necessary amendments to the ordinance as it exists to identify responsibilities and obligations of those operating off-road vehicles on highways within the jurisdiction of the town. I think perhaps most importantly are 2 notes to take away. One, that the ordinance does not require the town to issue licenses or stamps or otherwise approve of individual license off-road vehicles for use within the town. And 2, that it allows for, provided that the movement is at 90-degree angles, crossing state highways in order to use off-road vehicles within the town and not violate, again, statute. So I think that may have been a question at one point in time that a member of the public had posed is, well, how do we get across?
Yeah.
We go from north to south,
Or east to west.
or east to west without having state police stop by and pick you up. And so the idea is, as long as you're not traveling along those highways, you'll be just fine. But reversing them, this ordinance says is appropriate and I think it's supported by state law. So that's the long and short of it.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions the council may have. Otherwise, my recommendation would be to open for any public comment. And at the conclusion of the public comment period, to adopt the ordinance as presented.
Okay. So at this time, we'll open up a public hearing to hear ordinance number 2024-27. So is there anybody in the room that would like to make public comment with regard to this ordinance? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And at this time, I will call for a motion to approve said ordinance.
I'll make a motion we adopt ordinance number 12-19-2024-27. Off-road vehicle ordinance.
Second.
Is that, just to clarify, on second reading.
On second reading.
On second reading. Okay. So motion by Greg, second by Kathy, open for discussion. No further discussion. We'll take a vote. Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is a yes. Motion carries. Okay. Anything else?
Other than my thank you for, wonderful year and for the opportunity to return to you after, a couple weeks at home with little one.
Okay. And congratulations on the little one. Right again, Lewis.
Louis Christopher,
Lewis Christopher.
11 weeks old on Saturday.
Good.
He's
Is dog getting used to him yet?
Yeah, they're kind of ships in the night. You kind of just,
Yeah.
move past each other, and
Yeah.
dog's a little concerned, so they get quite the attention she used to.
I'll bet. I'll bet.
That's no, that's all about.
You get the elbow in the ribs in the middle of the night?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's, unfortunately, he's sleeping very well,
Oh,
but,
that's pretty good.
still always a shock to, I used to wake up 2:30 in the morning to do anything. It's a little change.
Like my daughter always told me when she was pregnant, she was really tired. I said, you don't know what tired is.
All right, thank you, Alex. That brings us to number 13, privilege of the floor, otherwise known as public comment. Is there anybody in the room this evening that would like to make public comment?
Maxine.
Oh, come on, Maxine.
Les Serrano, 18686 County Route 23. The last, and I don't know what has changed, but in the last 2.5, 3 weeks at my house, Belmont is shaking like crazy. I don't know if they've changed the manufacturing process or not, but I'm getting an awful lot of vibration. I haven't noticed any cracking in the side, in the sheetrock yet, but I'm getting all kinds of vibration that hasn't, 3 weeks ago wasn't happening,
Okay,
but it is far worse than what it was.
okay,
And so I don't know if somebody needs to investigate whether they're taking some shortcuts that they shouldn't be. But it's extremely annoying.
okay.
And I'm just reporting.
Right.
And so, thank you.
Thank you, Lester. We will definitely look into that for you. Like if you could.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else, Maxine?
No, I'm okay. Thank you, Maxine.
Okay.
You told me yesterday she'd see me here.
Nothing, no. So next item on the agenda, town council discussion items. So Doug's not here, Dean's not here.
Nothing,
Kathy, anything?
nothing.
Greg?
Nothing.
Oh, I did want to thank Wendell.
Is that the light he's working on this afternoon?
No,
Okay.
when we mentioned the fact that the street light on the corner was out,
Mhm.
he changed the bulb, I think once or twice in the opposite one, than the one that was not working. But it's working now. It's great.
Well, I know they spent significant time. I don't think these streetlights work yet, do they? Oh, they are on. They must have gotten fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, he went out within the next day. I talked to him about,
Well, I mean, at least the reason.
it was the west side of the street, not the east side, because he says I fixed it.
Right, okay. There's a lot of hours put into streetlights and Christmas wreaths this week.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
I would say the only thing I've got is just to thank everybody. It's been a busy year. It's been a really busy year. There's been a lot of change, a lot of challenges, a lot of good things happening. And I think it's, I count this as a very successful year for us. We've got some things cleaned up in town, which are nice to see. I think there's a bright future for what is to come with that property. We have a new police chief. And couldn't be happier, thank you. Excited about the full staff again.
Yep.
We went from potentially 2 officers to now we're at 11. So really excited about that. The fire department, you guys have been doing a good job and really appreciate everything you guys are doing. So thank you. Wastewater treatment plant, water upgrades, things are moving along nicely there, so it'd be nice to see some of that come to fruition.
We got a busy 2 years ahead of us, but
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
do.
fall of 2026. That'll
Yeah.
be a fun Christmas. Oh, I hope that we're all done by then. Anyway, there's a possibility some of that construction might fall into spring of 2027, but it should be down around the railroad tracks. Everything else should be done.
Yeah.
Sat down with Surveyor today talking about fiber optic along Main Street. I think we may put in the conduit and then lease space to like serve others. The fiber optic,
Nice.
street lights and downtown residents. We're going to install at least conduit to every business and every home that's along Main Street, whether they want it or not. It's going to be there, so you never have to tear up the sidewalk to install the fiber.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it'll cost a little extra for us, but not much, from.
Good benefit. So, yeah, new liquor store, that's open now. New gas station, that's open. The gas station's nice.
The official opening will be December 27th. If that's a Friday, you'll get a notice on that.
Okay.
And
Which
I
gas
think the
station?
liquor store is doing an opening as well, but haven't heard.
Up north.
On 15.
Yeah, up by the
Yeah,
industrial park.
that is really nice.
It is, it's a really nice gas station.
The liquor store was open.
Yeah, I saw that.
They opened last Saturday.
Yeah.
I stopped and talked to them today and they said things are going well, so.
That's good.
They have a taco truck sitting in there.
I think it was for their opening on Saturday, like they were having the people out front.
Did they have like a grand opening or something?
I think,
Tell us.
well, Saturday was their opening and
Hmm.
I don't know, but looks nice in there.
Yeah. Good.
And last but not least, we got a new attorney in the family, a little attorney. Well, I should say attorney / surgeon.
Yeah,
What's he gonna be? Do we know yet?
not yet.
Not yet, okay.
It's gonna be the regeneration of hippies.
I don't know, I gotta, he looks a little yuppie, I'll show you. I've already started. New member of the first.
Yeah, definitely.
First hour, looked good, had a bow tie.
Thank you, everybody, for everything that you've done for the town this year. It's been a lot of work, but very rewarding to see a lot of good progress and the foundation for even greater progress moving forward.
And thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Maxim.
A lot of work and effort goes in, I know.
Thank you, Maxine. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
so I for one appreciate it.
Thank you.
But happy holidays to everybody here.
Yeah.
And stay safe, please.
Yeah, agreed. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Next meeting in the new year, January 2nd. January 14th and January 16th.
Hit the ground running.
Yep,
Yes. January 2nd is the first Thursday.
First
yep,
Thursday.
it is. Okay. For that is our motion.
I
to
made
adjourn.
that.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I'll second Greg's. and-
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
I didn't say.
And then- I said before, I